Hey everybody, Edo here, and I want to talk about the Unlock series and Exit the Game series. They're both exit room type games. They're both essentially single use, though obviously Unlock has the ability to play with the application and play them again. But from a puzzle perspective, I don't see why you ever would play them again. So they're really these one-hit experiences that will run between an hour to two, depending on the group and depending on the challenges you're having. I reviewed these both individually this week. I reviewed the entire Unlock series as a whole, as well as the Exit the Game games. Now, actually, I had reviewed the other two. I hadn't played the Secret Lab yet. I have now. The other two I wrapped up with, so I chucked them, and I had this and I wanted it for the sake of presentation. But again, the premise of both of these are you have an hour or a little bit more, depending on how you're doing, and you are trying to escape a room, solve a puzzle, and it's just a sequence of questions and challenges. Again, if you want to know more about these games, please watch the review. I just want to jump right into the comparison. Now, the biggest difference, I feel, is in the Exit the Game series by Kosmos, you are given much more of an interesting setup using the dials. I mean, I guess the dials and the cards are really just how you find the answers. But the use of essentially the guidebook as an element in conjunction with a card really offers a much broader exit room-like experience from my perspective. And there's much more of tearing and cutting and manipulating in this series. Unlock, almost by definition, doesn't do that because what they're expecting you to do is be able to reuse it, which is a selling point. I also feel that in Unlock, the use of the systematic approach with the application in many ways also undermines its creativity. It's always like, you've got item A and you can move it with item B, and the blue items go with the red items, and there's this very well thought out systematic approach. But I think in doing that, you always feel and see it. It's harder to get into the groove of the theme with this because of that. Now, I like the application, I like the audio, and I like the use of some of the little extra bits and sound effects and some of the puzzles you get from having a digital bit, but they are not leveraging the app the way they could. They absolutely could be doing incredible videos and other things and really have this application interactive experience, but they don't. These really stay on the cards. Exit the Game breaks out a bit more, especially with the rule book, or not the rule book, but the theme book, as well as other elements, which I don't want to spoil. Happens in one of these once, but generally speaking, these sort of stick to the plan. I like the form factor of these more, just because they're a little smaller, but obviously you need the manual in here. If you're listening, it's pretty clear I like Exit the Game more. I think this is the better series. I really like how these are set up, how they flow, how they feel. I think that the clue and hint system in this is easier to use. One little bit of a frustrating thing about this one is oftentimes you have to flip through hint cards to get through the obvious, to get a little bit more help. But it's much easier in this to be stuck and know what to do in terms of figuring out how to get unstuck. I find with the Unlock series, you just start arbitrarily asking about every element, and it's a little harder. Now, so again, if you were only going to buy one or you were going to try one first or whatever, I would sort of say the Secret Lab. However, singularly, my favorite out of all of them is this one. I think this one blows them all away. It's so good. It's so good. And I said that in my Unlock series review, but the thematic vibe of this has so much more character, so much more story, so much more interesting feel to it that it makes them all feel generic in comparison. And because they're almost all the other ones, it's this unnamed, unfaced, not unnamed, but unfaced bad person or situation that's impacting you. You never see the character. This is, there's so much more going on. And also, partly because it's easier. This has such a nice flow and sort of like pacing to it where you have easy and simple and moving, and you just feel like you're flipping over and you're like, it's got velocity. All these other ones, you just sort of get stuck in areas and you feel like, if you're like, I want to just be meaty, puzzly, figure things out, challenged, yeah, of course, I think you're gonna get more out of these. But in terms of smile and entertainment and just like having a good time and being neat and fun and special, this one to me was the least just like trying to do the escape room thing and really driving it forward. And I think pushing this forward and pushing with the application side of this could make for some awesome products. And I hope, Kosmos guys, hey, look at what they're doing over here and bring it into your stuff because there's an opportunity. I've seen that the new series has come out, and I don't know, on the face of it, it looks like more of the same. And I believe these have done better, but this one's really special. I really like this one. So between the two series, Exit the Game's the clear winner, and I would suggest Exit the Game before I suggested Unlock series. But if I just had to pick one to like relive playing it, it would be Unlock. And if anyone, is into Unlock, I always recommend that one first. On the Exit the Game, some are easy. They're all really good, but also, I couldn't even. I mean, one's in the sort of the cabin, and the other's in the Ferris tomb. But like, it's all just puzzles. It's all just puzzles. And this also note this one has a 2-player split start. All the other ones are one to many, but this has a 2-player split start, which is neat and special. So look, maybe a little more imagination, but the systematicness of this, the way they had to chunk it to make it work, undermines the opportunity space that this is exploring as well. I think there's a whole nother series I haven't gotten to yet, but I want to compare these. So subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.